Alright guys, so last week we took a look at Soundcore's two new earbuds that were released, and those were the Soundcore Sleep A10 and the Liberty 4s. But after having some time with these and actually now being able to use them with Soundcore's app, which I wasn't able to do at the time, I wanted to do a full dedicated video on the Sleep A10 because I think these are going to kind of be a surprise hit for Soundcore, because I feel like the sleep earbud market is just kind of a niche market. You have the Bose Sleep Buds, which come in at $250, and you also have the Amazfit Zen Buds, which I almost completely forgot about, and in fact they actually remind me a lot of the A10s from a design standpoint. But both of those don't even let you play your own music. Where the Sleep A10, you have soothing sounds that you have within the app, but you're also able to play your own music. So you can use Spotify and things like that. So in my opinion, that already gives these the advantage. Now they do come in retailing at $179, and we're going to talk about a lot of the features, and we're going to talk about how these sound and what they're really intended for, and see if they're worth the $179 price tag. Now, first off, the one thing that I do want to point out, because I know a lot of people look for earbuds that you can actually lay on your side and lay on the pillow and not have them jam into your ear. Well, the Sleep A10 is probably some of the smallest earbuds that I've tested, but they're really comfortable. I actually just kind of forget that they're there while using them just like normal day-to-day use, but this is easily one of those pairs that you can sleep on. In fact, obviously that's what they're intended for. So if you're looking for a pair that you can just lay on your side and listen to, these will definitely do the trick. Now, as far as some of the technology, these do have Bluetooth 5.2. Now, they do only have SBC and AAC playback, so there's no high-end Bluetooth codecs here, but I didn't notice any kind of compression. They are using single dynamic drivers, which really are designed specifically to get the most out of the soothing sounds. So it's not meant to really try to compare to like the Liberty 4s, which is using dual dynamic drivers. But for what they're intended for, these dynamic drivers are doing a lot of work. And now that I was able to actually get these to work with the app, I was able to test a bunch of different functions. Now, obviously within the app, you can keep these updated. I went through and tested all of the different soothing sounds that they had. So if you want sounds like the rain and the beach and different things like that, a lot of those are there to choose from. Also within the app, it gives you the ability to switch around your controls. But this pair of earbuds are really limited with controls. You only have double tap function on each earbud. So I really only left it where the play and pause was on one side, and then my ability to skip the track was on the other. So for everything else, you're going to have to pull out your phone. But as far as some of the sleeping functions they have, it will track your sleeping and kind of give you a report of how well you're sleeping. It does have an alarm that will wake you up in the morning. And then there's also the smart switch function, which will basically detect when you're sleeping, and then it will just turn off what you're listening to. So it's basically saying that the sounds have done the job that it's supposed to do, and then now you can just sleep in peace. Now, if you are looking to actually use this pair at the gym or outdoors, the IP rating comes in at IPX4, so this isn't a waterproof pair, but it'll be fine against sweat and rain and things like that. So yeah, this is definitely a pair you can use relaxing by the pool and not have to worry if you get splashed. Now, as far as what they include inside the box, you get 4 sets of silicone ear tips, and they're actually double lined. I don't know really what the purpose of having the double layer is, but it does fit extremely well in my ears. But it also comes with 3 sets of wingtips, which you need to kind of help keep them in your ear canal. And then as far as the charging cable, it comes with a USB-C cable, and you are going to have to keep this cable because the case on these does not support wireless charging. I really would have liked to have seen wireless charging on these, because I know that the $179 is a lot for a pair of earbuds and you're paying more for the sleeping functions, but I've still gotten used to just coming in and laying my case on a wireless charger and not actually having to keep up with a charging cable. But speaking of the charging, this is where a lot of people had questions as far as the battery life. Obviously, if you're going to use these for sleeping, I said that they really need to at least be 8 hours. Now, if you have them in the sleep mode, which is where you're going to be listening to soothing sounds, the battery life will get around 10 hours on a single charge and about 50 hours using the case. But if you're going to use them for music, that battery life drops all the way down to 6 hours on the earbuds and about 30 hours using the case. And they do have a fast charge feature where a 10-minute charge will get you about an hour and a half worth of use. So you can see that there is a noticeable difference in the battery life between the sleep mode and the music mode. The music mode, obviously you're going to be pushing these drivers a little bit more, so it is going to eat up a little more of your battery life. Now moving over to looking at the case and the earbuds themselves, the case has a nice matte finish. The lid on these just slides open at the top, which I'm a huge fan of. On the back you can see the USB-C input. Right next to that you have a pairing button, and then around on the front you have 3 indicator lights, and this is what helps gauge how much battery life is left on the case. But moving over to the earbuds, again, I can't stress enough that these earbuds are so tiny. In fact, I was kind of worried I wouldn't be able to get them out of my ear because there's not a whole lot of place to grip on these. I actually have to grip the wingtips. But again, that plays into what these are designed for. And like I said earlier, they do use touch controls, although they are very limited. I would like to have seen them just at least give you the ability to add, single tap and triple tap functions to be able to control everything. So that is definitely one thing that I feel like these are missing. Now, another thing that these are missing is the Sleep A10s do not have any microphones. And this is designed on purpose because these earbuds are designed to keep you focused. It's not made for taking phone calls or distractions. And in my original video, I said that the mics were picking up like a weird wave pattern. But what was happening was I had my earbuds connected and I'm using the app that I normally use to record my voice. And these had some kind of interference with the mic that was picking up from the phone, and so it just had this weird cutting in and out of my voice, and it was phasing in and out. So I thought it was coming from the earbuds, but the earbuds have no mics, so whatever it was just doing on the phone itself. So now let's move over to the sound. And the sound on these, in my opinion, was actually the most surprising thing, because when you look at the earbuds and you see that they're this small, you're not really expecting a whole lot from them, at least when it comes to power. And this is a very bass heavy earbud. It is very boomy. The overall sound is really dynamic because on top of being boomy, they boosted the treble to where it actually has a little bit of a sparkle to it. Now, one thing I do want to point out is now that you can go within the app, there are those different EQ options that you can switch between. And I found that going in and putting it in bass reduce mode, like actually dropping the bass, still allowed these to be boomy, but it brought out a little bit more of the details. Now, I think the only genres and the things where I felt like the sound was kind of affected, if you're listening to things like metal or where there's a lot going on, it felt like it brought the treble down just a little bit. It was just like, it was able to keep up with no issue, but because that bass is just still kicking, it feels like it dragged down the treble, just not a huge amount, but you can tell that it wasn't as sharp as listening to things like classical or easy listening and anything that was a lot more simplified. Now, the mids on these, I still feel like they kind of left them alone. It does have a slightly warmer tone to them, which makes them feel a little bit natural, but they're not very forward, but they never seem to get lost in the mix. They just, again, left them right there in the middle. So now that leads me to the sound stage and the sound imaging. This is not a very wide open sounding earbud, and I think that's more so because the sound is so dynamic, it feels like you're more right there in front of two really large speakers. But one thing I did like is it still allowed me to be able to tell where things were coming from with no issues. So really my overall opinion is this: if you're looking in this niche market for a pair to help you sleep, I think this is one of the best that I've tested. I think this is a much better buy than the Bose earbuds, and this one functions a lot better than the Amazfit Zen Buds that I had tested. But some things that I do still feel like these are missing is I do wish that they had wireless charging for the case. I'm not happy about the controls because I don't like just having one function for each earbud. But again, I know that these are focused on sleeping, but because they do such a good job with music as well, I just wish that if you had it in music mode, you had more functions on the earbud. So maybe that's something that they'll do in a firmware update, but as it is, that feels a little limited. But I still think that this is an excellent buy overall because it's delivering in a bunch of different ways that other earbuds don't. So guys, that wraps up my video on the Soundcore Sleep A10. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.